Sorry, no prepared statement or nothing. No. We're going to play a football game.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start with Giovanni. What went in the decision to have him start Saturday?
Yeah, it was real close all fall camp, and just kind of the last week, Giovanni was just on a big uptick, kind of separated himself a little bit, and so that's kind of what led to the decision to go with him.
Was there anything specific you saw that separated himself from?
Yeah, he started making the plays we need him to make, the comfort with the offense, and then doing stuff with his legs, which is what we like about him in the first place, is not only his ability with his arm, but ability to make plays, running the ball when things break down, and that's kind of what we saw that last week.
Is there any plan for the other two in the first game?
Yeah, we're still absolutely. Ben, we again, a great quarterback. We know we can win with him. He's going to have an opportunity. Same thing with Jabari. So there's a plan, and that's kind of what Coach Gunderson's going through right now, is what exactly that looks like.
Did you feel like it was an easy decision, a hard decision? How would you kind of describe the decision with your conversations with Coach Gunderson? Yeah,
it was tough because it was close. I mean, it was a good battle all fall camp, and then when we looked back at the whole body of work and kind of who was trending up, that's kind of what eventually made that decision for us.
Looking ahead to Idaho State, just what about them as an FCS team are you guys prepping for? Obviously, they led the FCS in passing yards per game last year.
Yeah.
How do you game plan for that?
Yeah, offensively, they spread you out, and they do a lot of good stuff in the pass game that can cause problems. Defensively, they got a unique defense, that three-high safety. So it's going to be unique and something that, can stress a defense and an offense. So we got to be ready to play, and I got a tremendous amount of respect for the Big Sky Conference and that level. There's tons of good players down there. We've played against them. I kind of grew up in the Big Sky when my dad was at Idaho, so tremendous amount of respect for that conference and the teams in it.
Saturday's going to be your first game as a head coach. How would you compare that to, say, your first game at Reeser as a player?
I'll probably be able to answer that after the game, but just excited. I mean, anytime the season starts, no matter what position I'm in, it's just excited to get out there and go and finally play and watch the guys fly around.
How does your game day routine change?
I mean, I think
your personal one.
I think it's be pretty much the same. I mean, from linebacker coach or coordinator to now head coach, it's just constantly reviewing and going through in my head situations that are going to come up. And so that's kind of how I prepare for a game. Is really I'm real quiet and thinking a lot.
Are you a pregame speech guy?
I'm not. I don't think that has any impact on the game. Say something quick and let them go.
In addition to the quarterback, we were talking to Coach last week. He said it was a very close competition at cornerback. What did you see there that made the difference in the decision you made today with Andre at that other spot?
Yeah, it's consistency throughout. That's what we're looking for at all positions. And there were a lot of really good position battles, corner being another one of them. But it's who can execute consistently day in and day out, and that's what separated people. Mm-hmm.
Trent, on that same note, at right tackle and right guard, what did you guys just like that Grant and Tyler have done to kind of win those jobs?
They just, they were again consistent, making the checks, making the points, all the things that's so crucial in the run game and the pass game. They were just, when we looked at what's that best group of five, that's kind of what separated guys is, consistently operating in the scheme that we need to operate at.
I know, Jam listed as a starter right now, but is there, when Hankerson is out there, is there a plan to sort of rotate, use both, kind of like a committee
absolutely.
approach?
Yeah, Saladin's going to get a bunch of carries as well. I mean, like the past, we're going to play and roll three backs in a game, and their ability to stay fresh, keep them healthy as the year goes on, and not overloading one guy taking those hits. So we feel great about all three of those guys, and Jake Reichel as well. He'll have a role in there as well.
And Jam listed as a kick returner, just sort of using him in that role as well. Is that just giving him the ball as many opportunities as you can? Is he, how is you think he's going to handle that sort of added, role on a game-by-game basis?
Yeah, anything we can do to get our best playmakers the ball, and that's another way we can, have an opportunity for him to make an explosive play. So absolutely part of it.
After watching camp, do you think he'll run the ball as much as Oregon State has the last few years?
It's going to be really the kind of everything's built off the run game. So yeah, I think very similar to how we've approached it in the past is the pass game, the run action with the pass behind it it's all built off a great run game. So that's going to be a huge emphasis for us, not only this week, but as the season moves forward.
The in-helmet communication, is that strictly Gundy and Keith to the players on the field, or do you have, is in your headset as well?
It'll be Gundy to the quarterback. You can only have one on the field at a time, and so it'll be the quarterback on offense, and then you got one. It won't change much on defense. You're still going to have to signal. You don't huddle anymore, so not much change on defense. But Keith will talk to that guy on there, and it'll be more reminders. Hey, remind people this. And Keith has a great experience from the NFL using that system.
Will it take much to get used to? Did you have enough time to work with it?
Yeah, we worked with the quarterbacks the last 2 to 3 weeks of camp and in the last 2 scrimmages, so it went real well.
And the punting game, all through August, it seemed when they were out there working, unbelievable. I mean, really, really some booming kicks. Are you confident in that entire aspect of your game?
Yes, yeah, I think both punter and kicker on special teams. Everett was extremely consistent from deep. I think that'll be a huge advantage for us to be able to put points on the board when maybe we couldn't in the past. So I'm really impressed with what both the punters and kickers have done in fall camp.
Obviously, Saladin listed as that third back. When we talked to Coach Ford, he said he was still iffy on the 2 freshmen with their, role on third down in terms of pass pro. Just where has he grown to really take that third spot?
Yeah, he's one of the best athletes we have on the team. He's explosive, twitchy. He's done a great job of learning the scheme, which is not easy for a guy that got here in June. So very impressed with what he's done, and he's grown a lot in his pass protection. And it's just making sure when we have him in the game, it's things he's good with and comfortable with, which Coach Ford and Coach Gunderson will do a great job doing that.
Coach, was there any position group back here, Coach, throughout camp that you really liked the progression from the start to where they are now heading into game week? Yeah,
I mean, there's a number, but I would say the defensive line on defense, I thought they really started to come on as fall camp went on. Just the understanding and how things are done. The stunts, the movements, the things like that, and I think there's talent there. And then the quarterback position, I think from the beginning of fall camp all the way through, there was a ton of improvement from all 3 of those guys, which makes me feel really good about that position.
Your own work with Keith as a D coordinator, I mean, this is the first time you're the head coach and you have a D coordinator, you're not him. What's that been like in terms of sharing ideas and listening and comparing notes, et cetera?
Keith will probably have a different answer, probably a little annoying for him at times, but no, it's been good. It was hard. It's hard stepping back, but like I said before, having it be Keith and someone that I trust, not only from a knowledge standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, made it easier. But yeah, there's always conversations. We get together all the time and talk about, how do you see this picked up or things like that, and it's just a great working relationship.
Going back to the improvements of the quarterbacks, what do you think is the biggest stride that the offense made from the first day of fall camp to now when you guys are in game week prep?
The execution of the scheme. Because there's a lot as far as we motion a bunch, shift a bunch. The quarterbacks have to handle a lot, and so just that execution of doing things right, because when we can do those things, it puts a ton of stress on a defense. And so that was the biggest thing, just the overall execution of our scheme.
A number of players as well as coaches that have played on both sides of kind of that Idaho State rivalry on your roster right now and in the coaching staff. What does that do for your team if you've had guys who have faced them previously when you're game planning?
Yeah, I think, one, it's an understanding of, and then you see it all over college football where you can't sleep on anyone ever. Anyone's capable of beating anyone every week. And so there guys at that level that played at that level that are now here understand how competitive and talented those leagues are. And then coaches as well. So I think it is from an understanding standpoint and knowledge standpoint, it's a good thing to have for those guys that maybe haven't experienced that yet.
The players talked a lot this fall camp just about the level of competition between the offense and the defense. How excited are they to finally now switch their focus to game week and start preparing to hit and take on someone else other than their own teammates?
Yeah, that's always the fun part, because fall camp, you get tired of going against each other and you're just ready to play, and I think that's where we're at. Guys are excited to play. we had 3 good game prep weeks this last week, and looking forward to continuing that and actually getting out there and competing, yeah.
As you head into your first game as a brand-new head coach, is there any aspect of being a head coach at this level that you had to ask someone about? Even if it's a minutia thing on game prep or game day or stuff like that, anything you needed to say, how do you guys handle this?
Oh, there was tons, and luckily had a bunch of great mentors and guys that are doing it right now. You know, Brent Brennan being one at Arizona, he's kind of done what I did. Where first year, what was the first year like? What were some of the obstacles or things you had to learn? So there's been, you know, Mike Riley's been out of practice. So there's just been a ton of guys that I've gotten a lot of feedback from and asked questions about because it is new for me. Thank you.